perspectives.
What will happen in 2026? What awaits humanity in the year 2026? Yes, every year the topic of what will happen in the new year is interpreted through various magazine articles and opinion pieces. But this time, we aim to bring a clear and comprehensive perspective. There are many articles claiming that Muhyiddin Ibn Arabi described 2026 as an ominous year. Are these claims real, or are they merely rumors? What are Nostradamus' frightening predictions for 2026? What did Baba Vanga allegedly say about the year 2026? When examining New Year prophecies and expectations, it would be impossible to ignore The Economist magazine. Of course, we will analyze all of The Economist's forecasts as well, the prophecies associated with The Simpsons, and why so many predictions about 2026 are being discussed. We will examine all of these topics in detail. Now, let's dive into the details. Is the claim that Muhyiddin Ibn Arabi described 2026 as a year of ominous and frightening events true? First, let's take a look at who Muhyiddin Ibn Arabi was. Muhyiddin Ibn Arabi was born in 1165 in Al-Andalus, modern-day Spain, and is regarded as one of the most important mystics and philosophers in the history of Islamic thought. In Sufism, he is known as Sheikh al-Akbar, the greatest master. Ibn Arabi explained the relationship between human beings, the universe, and God through deep symbols and metaphors. According to him, existence is composed of different reflections of a single truth. This idea is summarized in the concept of Wahdat al-Wujud, the unity of being. Ibn Arabi does not describe the future in the form of direct prophecies. However, he offers symbolic interpretations based on the spirit of the age, planetary cycles, and recurring patterns in social events. For this reason, some of his texts have been reinterpreted and adapted to different historical periods in later centuries. In Ibn Arabi's writings, themes such as winds, wars, epidemics, and social turmoil stand out as recurring subjects. However, when we closely examine the claim, frequently raised by various researchers, that his writings point specifically to the year 2026, we find no direct reference to that year. Nowhere in his works does Ibn Arabi explicitly mention the year 2026. This date association is entirely the result of modern interpretations, in which commentators and historians align Hijri and planetary cycles with the Gregorian calendar. In other words, this is not a certainty, but an interpretation. The Economist cover, a celebration, a farewell, or a major war? So why are the Economist magazine covers considered so important every year, and why are they examined so closely by researchers? Because many believe these are not ordinary covers. For years, people around the world have argued that these covers are not simply news illustrations, but rather symbolic prophecies, encrypted messages, or partial revelations of the hidden agendas of global powers. Of course, there are also those who believe these covers exist purely to fuel conspiracy theories and consider them meaningless or exaggerated. Yet there is a recurring pattern. Whenever the world order begins to shift, whenever geopolitical balances are disrupted, whenever global crises erupt, the same phrase is heard again and again. The Economist had pointed to this months, even years earlier. Some claim that these covers use symbols to communicate the future plans of multinational corporations, intelligence agencies, and global elites. Others believe they subtly guide public perception, making certain actions easier to carry out by shaping expectations in advance. And some insist it is all nothing more than coincidence. But here is the interesting part. No matter how intense the debate becomes, in the end, everyone finds themselves returning to these covers. again and again. What is the meaning of the cake and the number 250 on the Economist's 2026 cover? At first glance, the 2026 cover features a large birthday cake decorated with red, blue, and white frosting. On top of it, there is a huge number, 250 at face value. This clearly refers to the 250th anniversary of the founding of the United States, which will be celebrated in 2026. However, considering that The Economist is a magazine known for speaking through symbols, it seems unlikely that this image is meant to be interpreted as just a simple cake. We believe it carries deeper and more layered messages. In fact, the cake appears to convey a 3-layered message. On closer inspection, it resembles a normal celebration, a moment of pride, a call for national unity. But the surrounding symbols, drone swarms, broken graphs, war icons, genetic markers, large amounts of pharmaceuticals, and gaming consoles, cast a dark shadow over this festive image. It is as if the magazine is saying, while celebrating the 250th anniversary of the United States, we are also pointing to a critical turning point. Threats from the sky, drones and satellites. When examining the cover, it creates a strong sense that 2026 may be the year of serious threats coming from the sky. A silent, invisible danger advancing step by step, or one that is being introduced openly right before our eyes. The small drones flying across the cover immediately draw attention. Some appear locked onto targets, while others emit signals downward. These symbols may suggest that in 2026, wars will no longer be fought primarily by soldiers on the ground, but by small, hard-to-detect machines roaming the skies. They may even hint at the possibility of large-scale terror attacks carried out by these small drones. Perhaps in 2026, even a bird flying in the sky will no longer be innocent. Maybe not even civilian aircraft. Satellites, on the other hand, symbolize the peak of aerial surveillance. The radar waves they emit resemble a metaphor for a digital threat, infiltrating energy grids, banking systems, election infrastructures, internet networks, and private lives. Asterisk. Medical devices, vaccines, pills, and the human body across the cover. Pills, vaccines, and medical symbols are scattered everywhere. The overwhelming presence of health-related products inevitably raises a disturbing question. Could 2026 bring a pandemic even greater than COVID? The pills are not arranged neatly. They appear randomly scattered, as if thrown across the surface, perhaps symbolizing a future where people will fight over medication. Because human health is no longer treated as a whole, but as a fragmented industry, each pill may represent a government policy, a pharmaceutical corporation, or a biotechnology experiment. The fact that syringes are illustrated side by side with symbols of war is no coincidence. It suggests that the future battlefield may be the human body itself, and that wars will be fought through chemical and biological means. And the most unsettling question remains: who will control our bodies? Robots and mind wars. The robot figure on the cover is standing with its arms stretched out to the sides, as if saying, "I am now part of the game." In the business world, humans are losing their place to machines more and more each day. The most striking symbol here is a red human brain connected to a game controller. This image hardly needs interpretation. They are saying that it is no longer just machines under control. The human mind is as well. Just as a controller directs a character in a game, they are beginning to direct human behavior. We are no longer the ones playing. We are the players. The game is playing us. Rockets, leaders, tanks, and global conflict. The cover is filled with rockets everywhere, and none of them suggest peaceful space exploration. They clearly point to a large-scale war. This idea is further reinforced by the presence of tanks, that it depicts a multi-layered conflict era where military, biological, technological, and space wars are all active at the same time. Perhaps total chaos will dominate the world. If a war of this magnitude were to happen, humanity would become dependent on medicine. Just like what we see on the cover, the leader figures on the left represent power blocks outside the United States, while the red-hatted figure on the right appears to represent the US president, with the Israeli leader standing behind him. The two swords crossed in the center are also a symbol of war, showing that the struggle is no longer only about territory. It is now about mind control, data theft, biological conflict, and financial dominance. 2026 Prophecies, Baba Vanga, Nostradamus, and the Simpsons. Now we move into a more mysterious realm. The predictions of Baba Vanga, Nostradamus, and the Simpsons regarding 2026. Baba Vanga's prophecies, Baba Vanga's predictions about 2026 do not come from written sources, but from statements that were passed down later. Even so, the claims are unsettling. An increase in major natural disasters, harsh conflicts between global powers' artificial intelligence, reaching a point where it may slip beyond human control. A claim of contact that would prove humanity is not alone the destabilization of global economic systems. According to Baba Vanga, humanity is standing at a threshold. The prophecies of Nostradamus, the verses written by Nostradamus centuries ago, do not give clear dates. However, some interpreters point to the following signs for the years approaching 2026. The sudden fall of a major, leader Europe-centered chaos and bloody conflicts, uncontrolled crowds, or systemic collapse, described through the metaphor of a swarm of bees. Rebirth. After crisis and a transformation of the established order according to Nostradamus, catastrophe often opens the door to a new era. The Simpsons does not officially make prophecies. However, due to past coincidental similarities, there are also claims about the year 2026. A global crisis or a major social event, a major turning point centered around sports, politics, or technology. A system change that people gradually accept without even realizing it, however. All of these are fan theories and internet rumors. Conclusion. Whether it is the Economist, Baba Vanga, Nostradamus, or Muhyiddin Ibn Arabi, only Almighty God truly knows the future. Our hope is for a 2026 where peace, stability, and goodness prevail. See you in the next video.